I saw that you sang with Katie Price.
Yeah, well,
You did a whole new world.
we did. That actually wasn't on a cruise ship. That was
It wasn't.
no, it wasn't. It was. I'd just come home a couple of months ago, and my friend had said, "I've got tickets to see Katie Price." She was doing like a tour of her podcast with her sister, but as a performer, it seems like from the outside world that we live the life of luxury, but a lot of people do forget we've worked, like I say, from 6 or 7 years old to perfect my craft. You know, I come home and I work behind a bar, or I do silver service or work in call centers or whatever. So, you know, I think a lot of performers are definitely underappreciated on ships.
Hello and welcome to the Anmol Lakhani show, episode 7, series 1. And I am proud to say that I'm joined by the lovely Gary Walsh. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Anmol, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this with me. It's really fun.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. That was such a nice surprise when you said, do you want to come on? I was like, absolutely, no problem at all.
Do you know what? I've been following you for a long time and I thought, yes, I have to get this guy on.
I have to get this crazy Geordie on my podcast.
I wouldn't say you're crazy at all. So let's start from growing up, shall we? So I guess the first question is, who is Gary Walsh?
Gary Walsh, professionally, is a singer, dancer. Through the majority of my career, I've worked on cruise lines. That's been like the biggest bulk of my work. But I've also done, you know, musical tours and pantomimes and worked a lot in like the cabaret scene, the corporate side of things. And I teach, I choreograph, I adjudicate dance competitions. So that's the professional side. But the personal side is just a wild, crazy, normal Geordie lad.
You've done it all, haven't you?
I really have. Yeah, I've had a big. I'm very grateful. You know, it's very few and far between. You know, performers in this world. So I'm very lucky that I have had a very blessed career so far.
So I guess that leads on to my next question then. What was growing up like for you?
Not easy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. It wasn't easy at all. I got involved, obviously, in the performing arts and singing and dancing. More dancing, I think, in my younger years. And obviously there was lots of comparisons to the Billy Elliot story. So I was bullied excessively, growing up. With obviously with the comparison to that story specifically. My granddad was a well-known boxer and a chairman of the Ex-Boxers Association in the UK. So it wasn't easy, you know. Dance and singing was my outlet. It's where I excelled. As performers, we're all show-offs. That's why we do it. We do it for the gratification. We do it for that applause at the end of a performance. So and I love that. That's my drug, you know. That's the thing that I'm addicted to. So I love that side of it, but the obviously the downfall of going into school every day, being called names that I won't say on this podcast because it's not even worth repeating.
Yeah.
And you know, that was incredibly hard. And like there was no, it was verbal, it was physical at certain times, but I got through it and it's made me a stronger person. I'm very grateful that I've had such a supportive family and friend network around me throughout my whole life. My parents have always been incredibly supportive, and my brothers and my extended family to, you know, my grandparents and now the close friends that I have, you know, they are the ones that I have now are the ones who stuck by me through all those, you know, tough times, especially in the teenage years. Um, but yeah, that's it. It was tough, but I had a great upbringing, and like I say, everyone that had a good supportive family. So I can't really complain. You know, it's made me the person that I am today, really. So
And
yeah.
how did you get into the performing arts sort of world?
Like I say, I was always kind of showing off and singing and dancing around, and my parents were actually owners of a caravan at a holiday park in Berwick.
Anyone I
Uh,
know? If I remember.
Um, I don't know now. I don't know. I know one. I can't remember what they were called, like the red coats, the blue coats, whatever they were called.
Buttons.
Yeah, kind of. But it was a Haven Park at the time.
Oh,
Yeah. So we used to go up there every single weekend. Every weekend we were there religiously. I'd finish dancing at say like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, and we would drive straight up to Berwick. And there was like lots of returning acts coming in, like different bands and cabaret bands. And obviously I'd seen them for so long, and I would follow their dance moves. And they one week pulled me up on the stage in front of this big, obviously probably the biggest crowd, and then came to speak to my parents afterwards and said, you should send this kid to dance lessons. I was already kind of at a small school here in my local area, and they gave the contact details, and then I ended up going to that theatre school, that dance school, which was the Time Theatre Stage School. I'm going to give them a massive plug. um and from there, I was there from about 7 years old till I was 17, 18. And my sister now goes there as well, my younger sister. So, we've kept it in the family. We've been a part of that school for over 20 years now. And they have made me absolutely everything that I am as a performer today. So, yeah, it's
I
amazing.
was, I was just about to say, because once you start, it does follow within the family, and then like, traditions don't stop.
No, they don't. Well, I've got three brothers who are not performers. Two of them have been in the army, and my younger brother has like what I would call a muggle job, working having a trade. And so, I was very, very different to my brothers, and they were all interested in football and things like that. It's actually now that I've got older, I'm the one who's massively obsessed with football, and my brothers don't really care.
Really?
Yeah, it's really strange, how things have like just totally turned as we've become adults. And obviously I have that massively close connection now with my sister, because she is literally following in my footsteps. She's ended up working for the pantomime company that I worked for as a
Oh,
kid,
wow.
and does all the same exams that I did. And so we have that really like close knit relationship, which I'm very grateful for, because I'm away for so long, and for so many months of the year we don't obviously connect as often as we can physically. So it's really nice that when I come home and she'll say, can you help me with this, or I'll show her certain things to improve on in our dancing. So yeah, it's amazing now that she is there.
So
And yeah.
you're kind of taking on that big brother role, to be honest.
Yeah. I know. We all four of us, we all say we are, because she's just about to turn 15. And I'm sure that any guy who dates her when she's older is going to be terrified, because
Oh,
she has four brothers. There's an 18-year age gap with us, between me and my sister. And I've got two older brothers, and the younger brother's only a little bit younger than me. So she's grown up like an only child, really, because obviously because of the age gap. So yeah, I feel sorry for any young gentleman who is going to come into my younger sister's life in the years to come, because he's got four big Walsh brothers to look up for this sister. So good luck.
oh. Have to get through you guys first.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. And I'm the nice normal one. They're the if you think of typical Geordie lads, they are typical Geordie lads. So good luck with those three.
so then you went on from the dancing to, sorry, the performing. Then you went on to cruise ships.
Yeah.
So how's the cruise ship one? Because I've watched like a couple of TV programs about cruise ships, and they say like it's an amazing world. Obviously, Jane McDonald, love Jane McDonald.
The queen. She is the queen of cruising.
I know, like, and she said like, I feel like at home here,
Yeah.
because like when she meets different people and different guests on her ship, I guess that's kind of the same feeling for you, right?
Absolutely. It's for me. I got into it. You know, Obviously social media plays a massive part in our industry now, but back in the day, you'd get your agent, they'd submit you for auditions, or there would be an advertisement in this what we call the stage newspaper, which doesn't exist. I think it's just online now. And there'd be auditions on there. So I just attended various auditions. And I'd worked within the cabaret industry like from about 17. And then I went to this first audition, which was for a production company called Kudos, who had supplied the shows for Celebrity Cruises, and I went to the audition and thankfully got the job for my first cruise line at 21. First ever cruise audition, and got the first job, which I was really, really happy for. And, it's very daunting going on a cruise ship for the first time. Very, very daunting. You turn up to this giant floating hotel and you are just embraced straight away. The amount of different cultures and nationalities on board it's amazing. And I'm from the northeast of England, where it's not incredibly diverse. So for me to go on there was very eye-opening and mind-opening. And I say now, I've said it for years, if the world was ran like a cruise ship, the world would be a much more peaceful place.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
it's absolutely amazing. And obviously I love it because I've done it on and off for 12 years now, So it's an amazing experience. There's not many people get to see, especially for what I do as a performer. There are a lot of, members of crew on board the ship who work incredibly hard. From the room stewards to the bartenders to the chefs in the galley and everywhere. They work incredibly hard. But as a performer, it seems like from the outside world that we live the life of luxury. But a lot of people do forget we've worked, like I say, from 6 or 7 years old
Of
to
course.
perfect my craft. I come home and I work behind a bar, or I do silver service or work in call centers or whatever. So, I think a lot of performers are definitely underappreciated on ships from the outside world. But it's incredibly hard work still for us. It's physically demanding, emotionally demanding, and but the best thing about it is you get to see the world. You get paid to do it. You don't pay any rent. You don't, we have no responsibility apart from just doing our job and not getting too drunk that you end up getting sacked. Like, you know what I mean? That's all we have to worry about. So I'm very grateful. I know how lucky I am and how privileged I am to have the job that I do and get to live the life that I get to live.
I saw on a TikTok, and for those of you who don't follow Gary, please follow him on this TikTok. He produced some great content. I saw that you sang with Katie Price.
Yeah, well,
You did a whole new world.
we did. That actually wasn't on a cruise ship. That was
It wasn't.
no, it wasn't. It was I'd just come home a couple of months ago, and my friend had said, "I've got tickets to see Katie Price." She was doing like a tour of her podcast with her sister,
The Katie
and it
Price
was
show.
the Katie Price show, yeah. And it was at the Time Theatre and Opera House in Newcastle, which was like my second home. It's where I grew up there. And I was like, do you know what? I'd love a night at the theatre. I need a bit of cheering up. I miss the ship and stuff. So we went, and I'd had a few pints, of course. And at the end of the show, and do you know what? Fair play. As much as she gets all of the flack that she gets,
Yeah,
she put on a great show.
like a
She was
lot this week.
especially at the moment, and she is an amazing mom to Harvey and all of her kids, but
I agree.
that can't be easy. And she talked about that like briefly in the show, and how the media twist things on her and stuff like that. But yeah. So at the end of the show, they were like, "We're going to have a little mini talent show. Does anyone have any talents?" And obviously, like I say, I'd had a few pints. So I was like straight on my feet, and I was like, got up, and they were like, "Oh, he's very confident." They pulled me up. So I went into the wing, and I think it was like the stage manager said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I want to sing A Whole New World with Katie Price, like she did with Peter Andre for, I think it was Children in Need at the time, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "We love it. Get on there." So we get on, and a few people had done things. I think one man put a fist in his mouth or something, and silly
Oh.
things. And then it was my turn, and then the video was on social media, and I was like, "Let's sing A Whole New World." And it comes across in the video that she doesn't know the words. It was actually my fault. So I started the song.
Oh.
I know, and I feel so bad for her in this sense. I started the song, and I just wanted her to join in. And obviously the male vocal gets basically the whole first verse and chorus, but I'm just encouraging her to join in straight away. So, so she got a little bit of flack for not knowing the words when actually it wasn't her turn. Anyways, I was just,
That's really mean.
yeah, and I was just thinking, but obviously we did it, and for me it was just a bit of fun. It's nothing serious, and she's a great sport for doing it because obviously I put her on the spot and everything, and I posted the photo on social media, and then a local journalist got in touch who I know, and he was like, "Can we post this and do an article?" And I was like, "Absolutely, of course, it's not a problem." And the comments were shocking. Like, why would you spend money on this? She is awful. She's
Oh my
horrendous.
God.
She doesn't claim to be a singer. She is
No.
she's a reality person. That's what she is, and
Yeah.
she does what she can to do to make money, and she
Yeah,
does that
exactly.
very well. I'm not going to go into whatever she's got going on in the media right now, but she is a moneymaker, and she's reinvented herself over the years, and she's up for a laugh, and she was just up for a laugh,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. I got to sing with Katie Price, and it's something that I can talk about here, and it's
It's
just it was fun, and I don't take life too seriously. It wasn't I wasn't trying to put myself out there and be like, oh, look how amazing I am and how rubbish she is. No, like, I had a few pints. I was trying to encourage her to sing a verse that she didn't know the words to, so it was just fun. But I'm glad I did it because it's great content.
what was the reaction like afterwards? I mean, it must have been like, you know, a mixture. There must have been like, some positive, some negative comments. But
Yeah.
what was it like in the studio?
Oh, the audience were fantastic. Everyone was up and cheering, and like she gave me a cuddle afterwards, and she was like, "Well done, thank you." She was like, "You're such a great sport." And then other people like did a couple of things, and I didn't win the talent competition, unfortunately.
Oh,
Somebody else did, but they deserved to. They were a dancer, and they were very endearing. They were a very endearing person,
yeah.
so the crowd really really took to them, which was amazing. And yeah, and people were coming up to me afterwards and saying, "Well done, that was great." And then obviously you've got your trolls on social media who are sat there in their bedrooms just wanting to put people down, but you're not going to put me down, not at all.
Yeah. No, that's a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
So after that, I guess, your the publicity must have been like bigger and bigger. But how did you um interact with Katie afterwards? Did you talk to her? Did you
Just very, very briefly, like I say, it was just a small interaction on the stage, and then I went back into the audience. They finished the show, and that was it really. I'm not the type of person to go and wait by the stage door, and to I'm not I'm not hungry for fame. I'm not hungry to jump off the back of her.
yeah,
If I am ever to be famously successful, I want it to be off my own back rather than because I sang with
do
Katie
it
Price.
yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But she was lovely, and she seemed to enjoy it. She was really lapping it up and milking it. So good for her.
Because we all know Katie Price is not that great for her singing, but she's a lovely person.
She's not, but you know what? She gives it a go, and why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, and that's the thing. So you're living this cruise ship lifestyle. How does it feel when you come home? I can imagine it must be, pretty awkward, like having to get familiar with the place again. Or you must be like, oh, I'm so excited I'm home. I can't wait to see friends. Can't wait to see family.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
mean,
either one of those two?
it's a mixture of both, if I'm being totally honest. Obviously, when I first come home, I'm very excited to see my family, spend time with my family, and get to see friends and my best friend and my goddaughter. And I miss out on a lot of the kids in my family. I've got lots of nieces and nephews who obviously I don't get to see very often, and don't have a particularly close relationship with them. So, if I get the chance to see them when I'm home, I do. But then it's the thing of, okay, I'm a job and actor. What's next? And that's the hard part. It's trips down to London from the northeast. Do I spend a fortune on trains, or do I get the night coach down to London, do an audition, and come straight back? Which is generally what I do. and I've done that a couple of times this time. I get a bar job. I've just been working in a bar, you know. It's so it's hard, and it is hard to adjust to, especially like I come home to my family home. I'm 32, and I live my life and have my way of living. So to come back again under your parents' roof and live not their life, but within their rules and their restraints, not that they're strict or anything like that, but we have difference of opinions on lots of different things. So
Of course.
that can play into it as well. But we're very open. I think as I've got older, me and my parents were very open with our communication, which is good. Um, and like I say, they've always been incredibly supportive. So, and working in a bar is fun. I get to see lots of people that I haven't seen for years because it was quite local. So it's the thing of people going, why are you here? Why why are you doing this? When obviously on social media, I'm off in the Caribbean or I'm, sailing through the Norwegian fjords. A lot of people can't comprehend why I need to come home and work still.
Yeah.
For me, I need to come home and earn money. It's good money on
Like
cruise
everyone
ships.
else.
Exactly. And for me, as amazing as my life is on cruise ships, it's a lifestyle, but it is also my job, just like my mom's a nurse or my dad is an engineer. Like, that's their job. Performing on cruise ships is my job. So, that's just kind of how it is. And a lot of people can't get their heads around the fact of, I still have to come home and earn money. So I have
Yeah.
to, work in a bar because in the Northeast, there aren't that many performing opportunities up here.
And you're going away on Sunday again to
Yes.
go on another cruise ship. Can you tell any more about that?
Yes, I can. I've only just announced it as well. Who do I think I am? But I did like a little countdown of all of the ships that I've done because I came home this time and I said I'm done. I need a long break.
Yeah.
Because it's quite intense on there. And I always say a cruise ship is a massive mix between like Big Brother and Love Island in one. It's very intense. You're in that bubble. You're living with these people nonstop. So sometimes it's really good and really fun, and sometimes it's hard. It's difficult. It can be quite lonely at times. So and I suffer with anxiety. And over the past couple of years, developed a little tick in my shoulder, an anxiety tick, which I'd never had before. So I just needed some time off. I needed a break.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I found out that a certain cruise line was looking for male performers, and I was starting to get a little bit down and missing that lifestyle and that life, and
Looking back at old photos, isn't it?
looking back at old photos and reminiscing and going, do you know what? I think I want to go back. So I rang my agent and I said, get me out of here.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? You said you want a break? And I said, no, get me out of here as soon as you can. And literally within days, I had an offer. I had to do like a little bit of callback material. So I had to learn some dances from a video, record them, upload them for the cruise line to consider me for the casting. And yeah, literally within not even 24 hours of them watching those videos, I had an offer to go as soon
Wow.
as possible.
And of
So
course, he said yes.
And of course, I said yes. So I'm very excited to be returning to Carnival Cruises. I did one contract there eight
Wow.
years ago. So I'm excited for a fresh start with a new cruise line. It's yes, I've worked for them before, but it was very different circumstances. A lot of the personnel are different there now. I was in a long-term relationship at the time, so I was with my girlfriend then, and it was very intense. So it wasn't the best experience there because I also think I probably wasn't in the best place within my
Yeah.
mindset at the time. So, I'm a lot older now, like 8 years older than I was the last time I was there. So I'm excited. It's brought me like a new energy that I felt like I've started to lose again since I've come home. And it's reinvigorated me a little bit. So yeah, really excited. I fly to Miami on Monday morning
Wow.
and have 6 weeks of grueling rehearsals there. Everyone's like, oh my God, Miami, it's going to be amazing. I was like, yes, it's amazing, but for 6 days a week, for 9 hours a day, I'm going to be in that studio
I don't think
learning
I'll be able to
routines.
do that.
It's a lot, and rehearsals are the most intense part, obviously, because you're they tend to try and get you to learn one show in 1 week. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot. You learn all the vocals, all the choreography. You obviously have to then get everything together, and then you perform that show at the end of the week for like head office, all the choreographers, and sometimes all the other casts as well. They call it a fun run. It's not fun. Um,
Not, no.
yeah, and then you move on to the next show the next week. So you probably don't come back to the other shows that you've learned until you get on board. So I'll learn one show in my first week, and I won't revisit that show until I get on board 5 weeks or 6 weeks later. So
Yeah,
it's our responsibility as cast members and performers to maintain that and keep it to the standard it was left when we did the fun run. You
yeah.
know, so yeah, and then we get on board, and I'm on board in the Caribbean for 6 months. Thank you very much. Let's go.
So people like are thinking probably right now, oh, that's such an easy life. But I can now really see it's not. It is tough. It's grueling. It's long, long hours.
It
And
is.
also, you've been making some music in the past, I believe.
Yes, I have. I do like to, I'm very creative in the sense of the whole entertainment industry. So, I I've released music. I've got, I think, 3 or 4 singles out that I've released over the past couple of
On
years.
Spotify. Go and check it out.
Yes, they're all on Spotify, Apple Music, all of those things, which I love to do. This year, I would love to shoot a music video in the Caribbean for one of my songs, or write a new song and like release it like that all together. For me, the writing side of it, the music side, I've been writing a drama series and a couple of musicals over the span of my career, and I always like to revisit them. You have to have money for these things to happen, but for me, the music side of it, that's my hobby.
Yeah.
That's just the thing I like to do for me. It's if it gets a few hundred listens on Spotify, then happy days, lovely.
I'll put the link in after the show so they can have a
Yes,
listen.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's fun. I like it, and that's like my go-to place where when I want to like switch off for a little bit, I'll write some lyrics, and then I do it all myself. I just produce it all myself, on my iPad or on my laptop, and use equipment that I buy myself just to do. I don't necessarily always go into a studio or anything like that. It's just like I say, it's just my hobby,
Yeah.
which I enjoy.
And a hobby is a good hobby because it keeps you going, right?
Yeah, exactly. It gives me something else to do on the ship other than just, you know, like I say, because it can be quite intense and it can be quite lonely at times. So, and if I'm not at work, because I've done contracts where I'm at sea for 2 or 3 days in a row, where you can't get off, you can't just jump off the ship in the middle of the ocean.
No.
We're so limited on places we can go as crew members. If there's a busy area, obviously the guests always come first, so we can't go in that area if it's busy. So me finding a nice little secluded place, either in the dressing rooms backstage when they're not being used, or on like the crew deck to just sit with my notepad, or you know get my iPad out and start making some medleys and some beats. That gets me away. And so it's my like recreational nice place to set my mindset right again, I think.
And a bit of an exclusive goss for you guys. Gary has got a podcast out called Remember Me When. I've seen a couple of videos. I'll link that as well. So can you
Thank you.
just tell?
I've just changed the name again.
Right.
Yeah, so I did. I started on, and I called it "What a Load of Ship," which I thought
Yes,
was
I
quite
remember that.
clever. Yeah, and then obviously I came home in the mindset of not going back to cruise ships. So, and I was just in the mindset of what affects me as a person, and I was finding doing a lot of like spiritual guidance and
Yeah.
meditation and therapy and stuff. So I was like, that I'm looking back at things that, affected me as a kid into how I am now today. So, and a lot of people used to say to me, remember me when you're famous. you know, and that was kind of the basis of the podcast. Whereas now I'm about to go back on a cruise ship. It's not, I just want to make the podcast more generic, so to speak.
Yeah, of course.
And my phrase is, right, let's crack on. When things get hard in life, you've got to crack on. You've got to get yourself together, pull yourself together, and crack on and get on with things. So I've just changed the name. I haven't released an episode yet, but it is going to come very, very soon before I leave. But I appreciate the plug of the podcast. Thank you.
Do you think you're going to get Katie Price on your show?
Oh my God, I would love that. Can you imagine? I'll definitely try and reach out. That would be an amazing guest to have, wouldn't it? I know.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm very lucky in the sense of the industry that I'm in. I've worked with lots of famous people over the years. I've done Panto with Louis Spence and Suzanne Shaw,
Wow.
the Chuckle Brothers, the Crankies, John Barrowman. I've on various gigs come across many other stars and celebrities, and I get to meet them on the cruise ships as well. A lot of them do guest entertainer work on cruise ships. They fly out, do their show, fly off. So, I'd love to get some of them on, or someone like Katie, and a lot of my friends are quite well known within the industry now as well. So
maybe Jane McDonald, who knows?
I would love Jane McDonald. That would be, I think, the ultimate episode for me. She's like I say, she's the queen of cruising.
Oh, thank you, Gary, for joining the show. It's been fun.
Pleasure.
Honestly, I've enjoyed it. This is my first episode after quite a long time, so I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much for having me. I love it, by the way. When you asked me, I was like, okay, and I've listened to a couple of episodes so far, and it's great. I love the branding. I think your branding is on point.
Oh, thank you.
It is so good. You do it all yourself?
Yeah, I do it all myself.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's hard work, isn't it, doing a podcast by yourself, and all of the promotions and everything like that. You've got to create the content, the clickbait to get people in and stuff. So I think you're doing an amazing job. And I will keep sharing and all of that sort of stuff, because I think your interview skill set is fantastic. And,
thank you.
You're very, very likable, and I really, really appreciate you asking me to be on, because
no problem. As soon as I saw you, I thought, yes, just get this guy on. You're great. You're great.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop the recording if I can find where it is.